Hello and welcome to another video on my channel. Something a bit different today, a bit different from the usual makeup videos, pregnancy type videos. I thought I'd mix it up a bit and say, yeah, I am more versatile than just growing a child and putting makeup on. Sometimes I do hair tutorials too. But no, this one is going to be all about how I planned my wedding abroad. In this case, it was in Santorini, which is a beautiful, beautiful island in Greece, and it's so popular for wedding destinations. These are just tips and tricks that I found extremely helpful when planning a wedding abroad. Weddings can be so stressful no matter where you're planning them. So when it's abroad and you can't get to that country to see venues or menu tasting or look at flowers or, you know, anything like that, you are heavily like invested in just using the internet to plan everything. But that being said, I found the process, the way I done it, incredibly stress-free. Obviously I was stressed because I was getting married, but I wouldn't say the wedding planning process itself was the most stressful part. I found a lot of other things revolving around getting married stressful, but not necessarily this. So I thought it'd be quite handy for me to share my experience with you and hopefully help you out in your wedding planning journey. I'm gonna start at the very beginning, okay? Picture the scene with me. You've just got engaged, okay? In my situation, me and Danny got engaged. It was the first England game of the World Cup. Danny had already organised a massive barbecue for all our friends that day. So I got engaged that morning, and in the afternoon all my friends came around for a barbecue. It was amazing, blah, 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 blah. And we were all discussing, oh my God, where are you gonna get married? Where are you gonna get married? And me and Danny had already, from the moment that ring slipped on my finger, I'm actually not wearing it right now because I'm too pregnant and my hands are swollen. But the moment that ring got slipped on my finger, me and Danny were like, obviously it's going to be abroad. It's not going to be here. We just knew it was never going to be in England. I love British weddings. I think they're absolutely gorgeous, but it's just not mine and Danny's vibe. We knew we wanted guaranteed sunshine. We knew we wanted sea. We just knew we wanted just that holiday vibe. And so for us, we were like, right, it will be abroad somewhere. Let's get working on that. And almost within like, I'd say 4 weeks, our venue was booked. We booked it straight away. We knew exactly what we wanted, exactly what we were looking for. And I think that really helps when you know what you have in mind. It was Danny that then said, like, what about, you know, these beautiful islands in Greece? You know, you see all these pictures of like the white buildings with the blue domes. And it was just like, the more photos we looked at Santorini, the more we fell in love with it. The next stage, we kind of felt like, well, is it going to be really expensive? I was gobsmacked when I found out how reasonable it is to get married abroad. In England, if you're not from the UK watching this, British weddings are kind of notoriously known for being very expensive. Like, it is an infamous saying here. Slight side note, I was watching a program on Netflix recently called Marriage or Mortgage, and it kind of is like that. You can decide whether you're going to put a deposit down on a house or get married. That's pretty much the price comparison you're paying for a British wedding. Everything is just so expensive now, and people will pay it because you want that amazing day, and why shouldn't you have it? Mine actually was pretty expensive. It was the equivalent to a British wedding abroad, but I kind of went to the maximum. You know, if the wedding package abroad was like bronze, silver, gold, I went for the gold on pretty much everything. So therefore mine did come to quite a lot of money. But you could have easily have done it for loads cheaper, which a lot of people do, and you can totally see why. Tip number 1, you will need an organiser, or in my case, a blue folder that I got free from my mum's work because she has loads of them in her filing cabinet. This will be your lifeline. You will never want to be without this. This is the most precious thing that you will hold dear to you for your whole wedding journey. I'm telling you now, everything that I will ever need is printed in this, and we're talking anything from just email correspondence, legal documents, the menus, the cocktail menus, my hotel confirmation sheet, anything you could possibly think of that relates to your wedding, it goes in here. Nothing doesn't get put in this, okay? I was printing off emails, and every single time something on the email was actioned, I would tick it and put it back in this folder. So I always knew like what was on the agenda, what I needed to action still, what was left outstanding. It makes you feel that when something is in front of your eyes like this, like I'm still one of them people that I write out to-do lists still. I feel like when I visualize it and I can see it in front of me, it gets done. Likewise, when it's your wedding, if I just had an online calendar on my phone, or if I just had like an online Google Calendar or something like that, I would feel like I would forget so much. But when it's right in front of me, I always remember things to action to tick off. Oh yeah, that still needs to be done. And so for me, this has just never left my side from the whole wedding experience. So I would strongly recommend that you get yourself organized, to get yourself any sort of stationery that would make you think, right, I really need to do this. But what we done was everything that was printed, we just put into like little poly wallets, things like that. And obviously I've still kept it now, don't need it obviously anymore, but there are just some things in here that are really important and you don't want to forget it. So this came with me on my hand luggage to Santorini. Number 2 is, hear me out on this one, a wedding planner. No, it is not bougie. No, it's not extra. It is a necessity if you are planning a wedding abroad. I honestly would have rather got rid of my husband than I would of my wedding planner. She was fantastic. I had zero worries on the day of my wedding. In fact, anyone that came to my wedding will, you know, tell you that they had never seen a more relaxed, chilled bride. I was so chilled. The day was absolutely amazing. You know, wasn't at all nervous whatsoever. It was just absolutely brilliant because I had nothing to worry about. Nothing bothered me at all. The wedding planner sorted absolutely everything and she really did take away the stress. So before I found my wedding planner, I actually wrote on this forum that I will actually get to in a minute because that is on my list. And in this forum, I wrote saying, do I need a wedding planner? Is it a bit of a waste of money? Can't you just do it yourself? The answer is genuinely no. But when it's abroad, you really do need someone the other end taking care of things. Number 1, language barrier. I don't speak Greek. So there are some vendors and suppliers in Santorini that don't speak English. They just don't. It's a very small island. And so, for example, me trying to hire the priest or the minister or whatever to marry us, the guy that married us spoke very little English, and when he was reading out our vows and stuff, even my like guests were like, what did he just say? Because it was very little English. And so luckily I had my wedding planner to be able to liaise with him, book him, make sure everything was legal, make sure everything was all documented and everything like that, because I wouldn't have known how to liaise with him, how I would have known to go to the village hall in Santorini to find a minister and things like this. So it's the really tiny details where the planner really comes into play. Of course you can look to get your own flowers or your own cake or whatever. You can search your own vendors on Instagram or Facebook or anything that's available to you now, but it's the really small details where the planner is so key and so important. So I found my planner probably in a bit of a backwards way actually. Going forward, a planner would be the first person that I appoint. So the moment you know you want to get married wherever in the world, you would appoint a planner at that point. I actually already found my venue, booked the venue, and within about 3 months of me booking my venue, the venue had hired an in-house planner and offered her services to me. I was like, yeah, I probably do need one. So they gave me a price, I said yes, and it just so happens that she was just the most amazing planner ever. I'm gonna leave her details down below because she is absolutely incredible. Her name is Athena. Oh my God, just absolutely love her. And we still WhatsApp each other now. But like I said, if you were looking to get married in Santorini now, I would firstly book a wedding planner and then go on to book a venue based on their recommendations. It just so happened I've done it the wrong way around. So what a wedding planner enables you to do is they enable you to create a vision of your perfect wedding, dump it onto them, and they sort it out. And honestly, that's what I've done. We often Skyped each other like once a month, something like that, and she would ask for updates, and quite often to make her job as easy and sufficient as possible, I would send her over a mood board. So I would create mood boards. I would create them on Canva or Photoshop or something like that. I would send her vision boards on what I wanted, like my flowers to look like, my archway to look like, my top table to look like, my candles to look like. We're talking everything from start to finish. I would just send it to her and she would go and get them for me. So one, I didn't have to pack anything like that. A lot of women I see pack like artificial like flowers and like candles and candle holders, and they take it all in their suitcase over to Santorini and stuff, and it's silly. You can get it all there. Just leave it in the hands of your wedding planner, because a lot of these things are rented. You can rent like lanterns to put around the venue and things like this, so it saves you flying it all over and things like that as well. So I created, like I said, a vision board, and I would often send it to Athena, and then we would have Skype calls and discuss everything. And she would literally say to me, yep, I can do that for this price, and you have to go, a bit expensive, or yeah, that sounds good. So this is kind of how easy it was. I was literally sending her pictures saying, can I have this? We're talking pictures of Pinterest. I'll go onto Pinterest, screenshot a bouquet that I like, send it to Athena and say, this is how I want my bouquet to look. And it is exactly how it looked. In fact, behind me, I have eucalyptus here. Eucalyptus was in my wedding bouquet. I had white roses and eucalyptus. I found a picture on Pinterest, loved the look of it, sent it to Athena, and she provided it with me there and then. It was just amazing. So I really would strongly recommend getting a planner. I know the idea of it sounds like really like over the top, but honestly it's not. It takes all the stress away. Let me give you one more example of like how efficient they are. On the day of my wedding, I obviously wanted to organise transfers for all of my guests. So we had guests staying in lots of different hotels on the island, and I wanted everyone to be able to have a transfer from their hotel to the venue, instead of giving everyone just like an address and they'd have to find a taxi and things like that. And so Athena said to me, right, here's what we're going to do. She obviously organised the transfer company. She said, add all of your, make a WhatsApp group with all the people from each hotels across the island. So it'll be like individual WhatsApp groups. So for example, I stayed at a hotel called D-Sol, D-E-S-O-L. I'll link everything in the description bar below. And I had to have one WhatsApp group with everyone from D-Sol in it. I then made the WhatsApp group, I added Athena, and then I left the WhatsApp group. So I was never included in it. So if anyone was ever running late or anything like that, I would have been notified, I would have been stressed. And Athena would then write in that WhatsApp group, hi everyone, the transfer for D-Sol is coming at 1:45, please be ready. If you're not here, you need to call this number. Blah, blah, blah. It'll be Athena's mobile number. She would take all of the stress away from me about just getting people to the venue. And if someone was late or whatever, or you know they couldn't find the hotel or whatever, you could just call Athena's number and Athena would go, right, you just stand here, go in here. Like, it was just so foolproof. And that's where I really think you cannot be a planner. Okay, number 3 is the Santorini Brides Forum on Facebook. Now, I don't have Facebook anymore. I don't need it. But at the time, it was the holy grail along with my organiser. So what you will find in the Santorini Brides Forum are past and current brides. So there'll be brides that have been on there for years and years and years that just love talking about their weddings. They love giving information. They love sharing their experiences. And they just genuinely love the subject. I was talking to girls on there that got married years ago in Santorini, but they were still so helpful because they just loved the subject of it, which was really nice. And of course I was talking to brides on there that were in the same boat as me. They were getting married the day before me or the day after me or whatever, and you kind of feel like you're all in it together. So it was a really nice forum to be part of. But the best thing about it is essentially it's like one giant TripAdvisor. I could literally write in that forum, hi girls, getting married on the 11th of September, which I did, looking for a hair and makeup artist, who can you recommend? And loads of brides would come and go, hi, I used her, she was great, these are my pictures. And it was so easy to do that. So I found my hairdresser on there, his name was Costa, he was absolutely fantastic. And I literally found him via Santorini Brides because so many people had recommended him. So you can ask them anything. So when I first joined the Santorini Brides Forum, I had just booked my venue, I hadn't got a planner. And at that point I remember thinking, I don't need a planner because I've got this forum who tell me everything. As much as you want to think that you can do it all, seriously, just touch on that second point again. The planner will do so much for you that the forum just can't do. The forum is just great for reassurance on things like hotels, for example. Your planner can't find your hotel for all of your guests. It's got to be down to your guests, right? So I went on the forum and said, whereabouts on the island did your guests stay? So for example, the island of Santorini is made up of little towns. Some parts of the island are much cheaper than others, depending on if you want the view from the cliff tops or if you want to be on the beach, or, you know, it can be completely different. So for example, if you've got a lot of big families coming over, a lot of people stayed in the town called Kamari, in Santorini, because it's slightly cheaper because you're not on the big cliffs, so you're not seeing that big, like, iconic, you know, backdrop of the white building sort of thing. You're sort of like lower to the ground, but it's much more reasonable for families to go there, easily accessible. Obviously it's not dangerous near all the cliffs and stuff, so you might want to keep something like that in mind, which is where the Santorini Brides Forum was really helpful. I could then recommend guests where to stay, people who are asking me questions, things like that. So I found the Santorini Brides Forum incredibly helpful. If you are on Facebook, definitely get yourself onto the Santorini Brides Forum. If you're not on Facebook, get Facebook. Number 4, and in my opinion, this should be number 1. Get yourself the best damn photographer you can find. And let me tell you, I did. She is a lady called Sharon. But when I say lady, I mean God. She is so unbelievably talented at her job, I cannot even tell you. Now, I need to make a little disclaimer here that I am exceptionally lucky that I knew of Sharon before my wedding. I kind of want to say a family friend, but she's not. We're not family at all. But my best friend, also my maid of honour at my wedding, is a relation to Sharon. And when I first said I was getting married abroad, my friend was like, why don't you ask Sharon to do it? And I was like, yeah, but it's abroad. Would she come abroad? And Lauren's like, yeah, I reckon she would. May as well ask her. And I thought to myself, oh yeah, I didn't think to ask a British photographer to fly over with me to take my photos. I just assumed I'd have to find someone abroad and that would be that. And I asked her and she was like, yeah, it's Santorini, it's amazing, it will look beautiful, and also it will look great for her as well, like to have on her portfolio. And I was so happy that because I just genuinely didn't think that I could fly someone over. I know it sounds really silly, but I just didn't think to do that. I just assumed I'd have to find someone there. And I was so happy because when I first knew I was getting married abroad, I was really scared that I would end up with a photographer that I didn't really know their work, and it'd end up being like really cheesy photos. So I inquired with Sharon, and all she'd done was just factor into her price the flight and hotel and any expenses and things like that. And yeah, when she gave me the quote just covered everything. So whatever quote she gave me for the whole day, and like I said, for her flight, hotel, expenses, she just gave me one lump sum figure, and I was like, yep, fine. And so it was incredibly easy. She sorted out, you know, how she got there and stuff. She didn't contact me to be like, how do I get here? What do I do? There was no messing around. She was so professional, as she always is. But there was no added pressure, is what I'm trying to say. So I would definitely recommend like looking into bringing over your favorite photographer if you have one local to your area or something like that, because quite often they will factor into their price the travel, and they probably want to do it anyway. So I'm actually really glad that my friend gave me the heads up to do that, because I would never have thought to do it. But oh my god, I'm so glad I did. So just gonna have a little bit of a all about me moment here. I'm gonna try and put some pictures on the screen. I don't know where, because I'm a bit of a novice when it comes to video editing. If I can't, for whatever reason, work out how to put pictures on here, please not only check out my Instagram, because all my wedding photos are on there anyway, which is at Hanny Allen with 2 Y's, but also check out my photographer's Instagram, which her name is Sharon Cudworth. I'll try and put it here somewhere, or I'll also leave it in the description bar below. Seriously, book her. She is unbelievable. She is just the most unbelievable photographer. We had included a pre-wedding shoot as well, and we've just recently booked her for our newborn baby shoot, because To those that don't know, I am now 37 weeks pregnant. This baby is going to be getting its eviction notice any day now, and I will have Sharon around my house taking beautiful newborn photos. So please check her out. She is absolutely incredible. But just to reiterate the fact, get yourself a really good photographer. I would spend more money on a photographer than I would on a hell of a lot of things to do with my wedding, believe me. These photos are going to be your memories forever. There is no point having an amazing dress with amazing makeup with amazing hair and shit photos. There's just no point. So please spend the money on the photographer. That is where a lot of my budget would personally go. Even if I had to do my whole time again, I would still pay her a million times over, because seriously, your photos will be there forever. So do it. Number 5 is legal documentation. So this is kind of one of the boring things about getting married, but you have to kind of know what you're doing. You have to go and register your marriage. So basically you have to announce to, we had to go to our local registry office and say, we're getting married in Santorini. Me and my husband-to-be at the time had to go, and we were put in separate interview rooms and answer questions about each other, which I thought was hilarious, by the way, because it's kind of like the most serious game of Mr. and Mrs. ever. And they ask you everything. And the best part was when we came out, I said to him, what sort of questions did you get? And he was like, when's your birthday? Luckily got it right. But you are put under pressure because you're thinking, oh my God, is that his birthday? Even though you know it is. Like, anyway, you have to go in, answer a load of questions about each other, and basically give them notice of marriage. That's what it is. Sorry, it's what it's called. You've got to give a notice of marriage. You have to give the details of the place you're getting married, all this sort of stuff. And then you get given like a certificate thing. And then when you get to, in our case, Santorini, you're obviously married on the day, you do all your signing with the registrar, blah, blah, you get given a certificate. Then the next day, the planner took us to the village hall where we had to get our official marriage documents. Mine are in here somewhere. Mine are here. These are all in Greek, so you won't be able to understand them unless you're Greek watching this, then maybe you can. These are all stamped, approved. Then what I had to do, I had to come home and I had to then reach out to a company. I reached out to a company called Language Reach, and I had to pay for them to be translated into English. And then after a few weeks, they'll send you your English translated certificates, and that's when I could then send them off to my bank, my mortgage, my car finance, anything, to have my name legally changed. Okay, my battery is flashing at me like this saying, you know, your camera's almost finished, so I'm going to wrap this up here. I hope that was informative. I feel like I dragged on a little bit, but that is kind of my style. I just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. So if you do have any more questions, please write them down below, or like I said, message me on Instagram. And I'd love to like talk you through everything, because it really is such an amazing time of your life. It's worth every bit of stress. To all the brides watching this now that have had a wedding pushed back for whatever reason, I'm so sorry that your wedding, you know, excitement is being prolonged, but it really, really will be the best day of your life. So you have all of this to come. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye.